So now that we've concluded that this television works, it's time to go inside and mark the capacitors that we need. So we now have the TV all strewn apart. Yeah. So let's get a little capacitor count for this thing. So here we go, we have it up, and I gotta rescrew that transistor. But anyways, here it is. I accidentally undid that transistor, that's why it's all taken apart. But anyways, I'm gonna take a look and then write down what we need. Well, as it turns out, I already got one down. 6.3 at 470. Closest thing I had on hand was 6.3 at 1200. Looks kind of strange in there with all the other parts. We got another one done in there. Just parts that are lying around. We have another capacitor done. Alright, so I'm going through and testing these capacitors using the Shango 66 little sound test thing. This is not a very good speaker, and let me connect this up. Sorry for the weak signal. Pretty good. Yeah, look at that thing. Just for reference, that's what it's supposed to be like.
WIRL offers local weather updates and community calendars
specific
to our city of Westlake, Wisconsin. In addition to community coverage, WIRL offers an exciting.
In fact, most of these seem to be testing pretty good. Well, I guess all but this one. That's another reference point. Alright, we're gonna test one of these crappy, that gray one right there. So, here goes a reference point. Here goes what it is. Stinky. Let's see if YouTube will recognize that song. Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel. Let's see if YouTube will catch it. Oh, well, that's why. I was being an idiot. That's not a capacitor, that's a diode. Alright, let me find some more capacitors to test. Alright, now we're going to test that big gray one back there with the Matsushita logo on it. So, I can do the same thing we did before. Reference point. Capacitor. Oh man, that one's bad. So, we're going to have to change that one. So, that disc capacitor back there that's connected to a big germanium transistor is good. And what an appropriate song for this TV. Then again, disc capacitors never really go bad. Alright, so I'm testing. If this will ever focus, there we go. I'm testing that 471 thing right there. And check out how stinky it sounds. So I'll give a reference point like normal. Here we go on the capacitor. Stinky feller. Oh yeah. Alright, let's check this black one right there. Try to find the leads for it. I think it probably goes from there to there. Possibly there to there, but I don't think so. So anyways, I'll give a reference point like before. And now let's try to find it. Well, I checked all the different locations and they're all good, so we're not going to have to change that one. So now we're going to do this like kind of reddish amber colored one. It goes from there to there. Or maybe it goes from, yeah, it goes from there to there. So I'll do the same thing as before, and I'll stop saying that when I do the next one. But reference point.
Yourself with a little extra time to
Capacitor.
keep you and your equipment going. Order parts online for home.
If I can get it to actually.
For your service appointment, for the customer.
There's a
Shop
stinky one.
latest deal. John Deere equipment at TractorCentral.com. Or
So yeah, that one's good. So we're testing that black one back there, right next to that one. And that one's checking good. So now let's do those two big filters, it looks like. So let me wire them up real quick. That one is good. And by the way, if YouTube cancels out the audio for this video, just know that if the audio is off, it's good. And if the audio is crappy, then, well, you'll know that it's bad. And that one is good. I've noticed something, and that all the Matsushita transistors are all bad, and all the Nippon Chemicon ones are all good, which I find kind of strange. So yeah, that would be the recapping, or at least everything that needs to be redone, or at least majorly redone. There's a lot of these little green ones in there that kind of suck, but their values are just so little that I don't really think it'll matter too much. Then again, this early solid state stuff, especially Japanese early solid state stuff, is pretty sensitive, so I might add those in. But anyways, let's move on to the audio section. I was going to end the video there, but then I just remembered that we have the audio section left. So now it's time for the audio section, which I have redone a little bit. As you can see, there's capacitors that have been changed. I think the only two original ones that are actual electrolytics are there, there, and there. Oh yes, and there. And that's not a capacitor down there, that's actually a transistor. And a weird shield thing, which I thought was kind of cool. But yep. So let's do some testing. We got the audio section flipped over, and look at that. That was just so cool how they put Sony on there. This was back when the engineering inside was, they were just as proud of it as they were on the outside. So, times have changed. Anyways, let's get to some testing. There we go. That one's good. So, we're going to test that one right there with the wax on it. So, reference point. And yeah. And test. Reference point. Test. So that one's not too healthy. And it's an electrolytic too, so we'll see if we can change that one. Oh, come on. You're telling me I didn't have to do that? So, the sound test thing that I've been doing isn't a perfect test, but it gives you a rough estimate in the condition of the transistor. So, I guess this is all back together, and let's, or at least it's got all of its capacitor slots populated, so let's put it back together. So, we have it all back together now, except for those 4 top knobs. But yeah, that is the repair of a 1967 Sony solid-state television.